Hello, this is a video on how to play the card game Rummy 500. Now, Rummy 500 is similar to Rummy, but it is different enough that it warrants its own game. And so, Rummy 500 uses a standard deck plus 2 jokers. Each player is dealt a hand of 7 cards. If the remaining cards become the draw pile. And so, notice how I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The remaining cards would then become the draw pile here. And so to begin play, a card is played from the draw pile face up into the discard pile. And so this was already done. So the 8 was the card drawn from the draw pile and played into the discard pile. And then Panda actually played a queen. And so that's why you see 2 cards here. But in reality, it was the 8 drawn and then play started, and then Panda discarded a queen. Now, on their turn, each player may either draw a card from the draw pile or pick up one or more cards from the discard pile. When drawing, a player can always pick up the top card from the discard pile, no matter what. However, you can also draw a card deeper in the discard pile, given that only if you can use that card immediately in a meld. If in that case all cards above it are also picked up, and so I could pick up this 8. Notice how it's not letting me pick it up. That is because I cannot use it in a meld immediately. However, if I could use it in a meld immediately, I could not only pick up the 8, but then I'd also have to pick up any card above it. In this case, the queen. Do note that you can pick up the top card from the discard pile no matter what. But if you want to pick up any card deeper in a discard pile, you must immediately use it in a meld. Then you can lay down cards from your hand to form melds. Players can also add cards to existing sets and runs. This is called laying off. And so what we'll do is we'll try to lay down a card from our hand to form a meld. In this case, a meld is 3 cards of the same rank or 3 or more cards in a run, which is a sequence in increasing order of the same suit. And so right now, as you can see, it's quite a simple game. Do note that we don't have any melds here, and so what we'll do is we'll discard a card. Anytime you end a turn by discarding. And so what we'll do here is we'll discard the 2 of hearts. So let me discard it. Yeah, there we go. So no, Penguin picked up that 2 of hearts, and then he discarded the 6 of clubs. Deer discarded the 4 of diamonds. Remember, every player ends their turn with a discard. And so are any of these cards beneficial to us right now? Not really, right? None of them can really be used to make a meld, and so we are going to draw from the draw pile. Now, what we got here is a 7 of hearts. That's not that beneficial either. And so what I'll do is I'll actually discard the 3 of diamonds, since it's quite far from any other card that I have. And so Deer picked up all the cards. Notice how he just picked up all the discards? Because he could use it to make a run. You can only pick up the discards below the top discard if you can immediately use it to make a meld. A meld being either a run or a sequence. Now, the 3 of hearts wouldn't benefit us. The 6 of clubs we wouldn't be able to pick it up, right? If we try to pick up the 6 of clubs, we can't, because we cannot immediately make a meld with it. So we have to draw from the draw pile. Got a 2 of clubs. I'll discard that instantly. Now Penguin laid down his meld. And so picking up this 9 wouldn't help us. And so what we'll do is we'll draw a card. And so that's what we did. We are actually going to lay it down, right? This is what I was talking about. So the objective of Rummy 500 is just to take turns drawing, discarding, and melding. However, you can also lay off a card on an opponent's meld. Keep in mind that you do want to keep track of the cards you have melded. this case 5, right? We melded a 5. And so we'll talk about scoring later on. Now, is there any other card we can meld here? We could lay off a 7, right? This is an 8 of hearts. This is a heart sequence. We could put the 7 at the beginning. Lay that off. Is there any other card? Well, we could put this in these sets, right? Moreover, is there any other card we could lay off? Nope, we cannot. What I'll do is I'll actually discard this 9 of spades here. And so we'll just look at the play going on. Do note that now we still cannot draw any of the cards from the discard. That would be beneficial, and so I'm going to draw a card from the draw pile. I'm going to take this 10 and lay it off right there. Then I still have to discard a card in the discard pile to end my turn. Let's go with the jack of. Let's go with the 8 of clovers. 8 of clovers, yeah. And so do look at Deer's score, right? The more cards you meld, the higher your score, and we'll talk about that in a minute here. But so basically the objective is just to draw, discard, meld. Do note that a set is a group of 3 or 4 cards of the same rank. A run is a group of at least 3 consecutive cards of the same suit. And at the end of the turn, you must discard 1 card to end your turn. Play continues until one player has gotten rid of their whole hand. And then so that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep playing until one player has gotten rid of their entire hand. Once this occurs, we will then talk about what will happen next. In this case, we will keep the 5 of clubs in an attempt to lay it off like so. However, now we will lay off our jack of clovers there. And we will keep the 5 of clovers. Now what we'll do here is we will, the diamonds are not close, and so we will actually lay off the jack of diamonds there. Let's say 5 of hearts. And so there's nothing I could really usefully do with these cards, and so what I will do is I will take this ace and lay it down for the set there. Now I must discard a card, and so what we'll have to do is we'll actually discard. I have faith in the queen of spades, and so what we'll do is we'll discard the 5 of clubs. I do believe a jack of spades is going to be played there. I'm hoping, and so that will allow me to play this queen of spades. And so just draw, discard, meld until one player loses all of their cards. It's quite simple. And I know you're looking at the tallies here of the scores, and we'll talk about that after this round finishes. And so the round finished. Okay. Now so just draw, discard, and meld until one player has gotten rid of their entire hand. In this case, Panda got rid of his entire hand, right? He has no cards in his hand. And so the round ends. So scoring. Players score points as they lay down cards. If you lay down a face card in a meld, or lay it off, it's worth 10 points. An ace is worth 15 points, and all other cards are worth their number values. The value of the cards remaining in a player's hand is subtracted from their score. So, we scored 57, but I have a face value card in my hand. The face value card has a value of 10. 57 minus 10, my score for this round is 47. Penguin has 2 remaining in his hand. 26 minus 2, his score will be 24. Deer has 181 remaining in his hand. 181 minus 22. Sorry, let me just do some mental math here. That would be 159. Now, all players score like so. Look, he scored 159, I scored 47, Penguin scored 24, and Panda, since he had no cards left, he did not do any subtraction. He simply scored the cards, the value of the cards he laid down. So that's how you play. You just draw, discard, meld, and you score points. Keeping in mind, face cards are worth 10 points, aces are worth 15 points, and all other cards are worth their number values. So, how do you win the game? The game ends when a player reaches 500 points. This is why it's called Rummy 500. However, if you are in a rush and you are looking for a quick game of Rummy, then you can set any point value you please. However, to stay true to the principle of the game and to stay true to the name, I advise playing till 500 points. It also makes for a much better, I'd say, experience. It's a good length. If you go shorter, it gets too short. If you go longer, the game gets too long, in my opinion. And so let's just play another game here. Notice how the top card from the discard was placed down. Now the game starts by going to me. I could draw the top card of the discard, but I will choose not to. I will draw the top card from the draw pile. I drew a 10. I will then take my 7 of... I actually like my spades here. I like all of my cards here. I will take my ace of clubs and discard it. Play moves. And so we'll just do one more round here just so you sort of get the idea of how to play. And so that's a jack of spades. So that's the queen of diamonds. Now, if I cannot draw any of these cards underneath. Why? I could make a meld. Yeah, so notice how I could make a meld with the jack, and so when I picked up the jack, I also picked up all of the cards on top of it. So you can only pick up a card under the top discard if you are able to use it to immediately make a meld. Other than that, the only options for drawing are the top discard and the top draw. Now, remember, to end a turn, you must discard a card. And so what we will do here is we will discard a card. I believe discarding the 7 will be beneficial for us, and so that is what we will do. He probably could make a set of 7, and so that's what he did. And so discarding the 7 might have been a bad move. Why? I could have held on to it, preventing him from making a set. And so that is how you can strategically play Rummy 500. You can hold on to cards that you know your opponent needs to make a run, and you hold on to them so your opponent cannot use them to make a run. Now, I cannot draw this jack of diamonds even though I'd like to. I cannot draw the 6 of spades because I cannot use it to make a meld. So we'll draw from the draw pile. This is an ace of spades, and so well, I actually would like to keep it, and so what we'll do is we'll discard the 6 of hearts. And now, notice how there's a 9 of clovers. I'm going to use my 10 of clovers and place a card onto it after. So this is 10. So, okay, Panda's still going. He's taking his time. Wonderful. There we go. Now it's my turn. I have to take a card or draw a card. Would the Jack of Diamonds help me make a meld? I do not believe so. So we will draw a card. And so now what will we do? Now we will do our maneuvers before we discard a card. And so what I'm going to do is I know that there's a Jack of Hearts, and so I'm going to lay off my Queen. Then, what else will I do? I know that there is a 9 of clubs. I'm going to lay off my 10. Pay attention to my points here. It will go to 49, face value, right? Keep in mind for scoring, face cards are worth 10, aces are worth 15, all of the cards are worth face value. It's quite simple. Can we get a king of spades? Lay it down. Take our ace. Now our score will go to 74. Notice how the ace was worth 15, and so that's how you are able to lay down cards. A 3, 4, 5 of clubs. I could lay off my 2 of clubs at the beginning there, right there. I get 2 more points to my score. Can't really lay off any more cards. I know my jack is useless in terms of laying off because the jack has already been played there, right? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to discard my jack here. Panda got rid of... No, Panda still has 1 card. And so we cannot we took that queen. Why? We could lay it off. We want to keep the round going as long as we can. Well, you don't want to keep too many cards in your hand because you then will indeed have to subtract it from your overall score. However, you do want to try to score as many points as you can. So we'll discard the Panda played a 3 of hearts. The 2 of spades is not useful here. And there's not really a maneuver that could be made here. I don't know why I took that. I did not mean to take that. What I was trying to demonstrate is that since none of these cards can be placed, I can't make a meld with any of these cards. I cannot draw them. You can only draw the top card of the you can only draw the cards below the top card of the discard when you're able to use them to make a meld. Otherwise, you cannot draw any cards below the top discard. So if you want to draw these cards here, you have to be able to immediately use them to make a meld. And so I'm actually going to try to make a. See, I can't do the maneuver I hoped for. But no worries, we'll draw a card. And we got a 6, so we'll discard. He was able to take the card at the beginning because he was able to make a meld instantly with that card that he drew. And so notice how he was able to get a high score there. Do note that we are indeed, since Panda got rid of all his cards, the round is done. I subtract a score of 6 from mine, right, and I gain 80 points. And so that really wraps up how to play Rummy 500. It's honestly just draw, discard, meld, play to 500. Do note that you cannot draw the card below the top discard unless you are able to instantly use it to make a meld. Do also note that you play till any score that you hope for, but try to keep it to 500 to keep true to the principles of the game. Do note that a set is 3 or more cards of the same rank. Do note that a sequence is at least 3 consecutive cards of the same suit. At the end of your turn, you must discard 1 card into the discard pile. Play continues until one player has gotten rid of all the cards in their hand. That ends the round. You play as many rounds as you need to reach your target score. That wraps up how to play Rummy 500, and I hope you enjoyed learning this fun card game.